Hi, Ray Cassidy here from Climb High SEO with 5 changes in local SEO strategies for small businesses to watch out for in 2024. Now, looking at what might become important this year for local SEO and digital marketing here in Cumbria and possibly around the rest of the UK. First thing is Google local service ads. These are ads that are appearing in the local pack much more frequently now. They come with a Google guaranteed badge to prove that the big G has vetted them. That has some caveats, as we'll see in the next slide or two. But even here in Carlisle, we've got carpet cleaning, resin flooring persons taking advantage of the ads, and pest control rent-a-killer on the job. So if you've got pest control in Carlisle, might be worth considering. So they are very similar to the normal 3-pack listing, but they're placed in a prominent position with this little green tick with the Google guaranteed or Google verified badge to prove their worth. And basically it's a local lead gen ad. You pay per message or call that you get directly from the ad. It's a bit like normal ads, you know, you're bidding against other people once everybody gets onto the treadmill. But what does start to happen, where this has been running for a while, is recommendation and referral becomes very important, and therefore the reviews that show, you know, the review stars that show become even more valuable than they do in a normal local pack listing. Similar portal to Google Ads and Google Business Profile, you know, but it's a different pot to those two, but you can use the same umbrella Google account login. But they've been scammed to hell in America in some markets. Now, the Google guaranteed or Google verified badge that pops up is a big trust symbol, and people have found ways to exploit it in America, particularly in the sort of duct cleaning and HVAC, you know, air conditioning markets. Doesn't seem to have become a thing here, but if you do decide to use these ads, or you're in a trade type business where, you know, you've got lots of contractors competing for the same thing, then it's, you know, it's worth being aware. One of the things that happens is they'll tend to use, the scammers tend to use a very similar name to your own trade name, and some of them seem to have even found a way to either nick the reviews from the genuine listing or presumably filter off the genuinely satisfied customers into putting reviews on the scammers listing. So yeah, bags is probably a good way to think of them, and Google isn't really getting on top of this, even though it's been pointed out to them by several very influential people. In the UK, it tends to be just the, you know, the home services types of businesses that are eligible. So, you know, from repairing small appliances, carpenters and carpet cleaners, flooring services, contractors, handymen, air conditioning, junk removal, pest control, plumbers, snow removal. I mean, that's almost unbelievable over here, but there you go. I'm sure somebody must do it. And window repairs, which is great. But they're testing out in London the legal profession, which suggests that that'll get rolled out across the country eventually. And if they're going for lawyers, a very American sounding name for the soliciting profession, then I suspect other professional services such as accountants and paralegals may very well come under the gaze of eligibility to help Google make even more money, but making yourself some money along the way too. Okay, so it's a bit dry topic this. So, we've mentioned air conditioning. This is my kind of air conditioning. Brimfell and low water near Coniston on a very frosty day, and a nice little scramble up that ramp, up the rocky things there, and up the steeper rocks there, dodging the ice. Absolutely stunning day. And then another thing that's come into fruition this year is the Google Sites product was also tied in with your Google Business Profiles, your GBPs, and you'd set up a GBP listing, and then you'd have the option to set up a Google Sites website based on the content of your listing. Now it is those that are disappearing. The actual website product is still going to be around after March, but the websites, the mini websites based off your Google Business Profile, which were just a glorified citation or listing, they're going. Now, what I have found is even this SEO character down in Cardiff, plus some accountancies, a photography site, and a couple of civil engineering contractors. Their only sort of unique content is on one of these little mini sites. So let them know before March, so that they have time to get themselves a decent website. And it's great to be on top of summits and searches, so get your local SEO right, because it's great to be on top, just as it was on the old man of Coniston, a little further round from Brimfell. And there was a lot of hoo-ha in the SEO sort of nerd community about openness, the new ranking signal for local businesses. This last Joy Hawkins over in America, she noticed, and a few other people did pretty soon afterwards, that after one of the big updates Google did, suddenly lots of business seemed to disappear from the search results after they were shut. Now, I haven't seen this personally over here, but there's enough chatter now to know that it is happening. It's a bit of a nerd fact, so why is it relevant to you? It's just a reminder that your basic local data needs to be correct. So on your Google Business Profile, your Bing Places listing, all your other citations, make sure that your opening hours and all the other important data that customers rely on, make sure that's accurate. So that's the name of the business, and don't be a plonker that adds Carlisle or Cumbria or whatever to your business name, because where I find it I will report it and take it down. Make sure that your address is correct. It's unbelievable how many businesses have got the wrong address on their Google Business Profile. Make sure that the other bit of your NAP, the phone number, preferably a landline, is correct as well. If you haven't got a landline, it's worth getting a landline number, even if it's a virtual one, with the local code for that area where you're based. And then obviously the website, making sure that that's done. So, accurate local information that's consistent across your entire footprint is really important for businesses that rely on people coming to them, walking through the door, picking the phone up, and then making a visit. And open signals. This is my kind of open. Swirl Howe and great cars looking across from Dow Crag that same day that we were out on the Old Man. Absolutely stunning day. Much more satisfying than being sat in front of a desk ploughing through local SEO fiddly bits. So predefined services in Google Business Profiles. You'll often find that where you've listed services, you'll find that Google's crossed them out and put them in red and moved them down the page and put in a whole load of other suggestions for services. Now, some of these will be complete and utter crud, as it says in the green box, completely irrelevant. I do sometimes wonder if that's a bit of attempted sabotage, where somebody has suggested an edit on your on your listing, and Google has said, "Oh yeah, that's a good idea," and sort of just taken it at face value. However, if there is an extra service label appearing in your listing, which is relevant to your business, by using it, you will get a little bit of a rankings boost. This has been confirmed in a couple of studies, mainly in the USA, but I have no reason to think it won't apply equally over here, because they're doing the same thing to UK listings. So, if this extreme cleaning company here updates its listing with some of these suggestions, then I suspect it will see a little bit of a boost in rankings. And this is my kind of tricky hidden chimney direct on the mess of pottage in Corrie and Trek. Yeah, it doesn't look like that in the spelling, does it? Up in the Cairngorms the other weekend, proper technical winter route at long last. I love this sort of stuff, and it's just as fiddly, and on this particular day, twice as knackering as sat at my desk at trying to plough through people's local SEO details. So anyway, that was a great day out. And verification of Google Business listings, it is a bit of a rumble. They've switched over to AI now, and any new business listing or any that has become unverified, or where there's a change of address and you've got to re-verify at the new address, it can be a real pain. Did this for a local photographer, and he'd had to go 3 or 4 times, and I think it took me a couple or 3 times before the video would eventually upload to Google and it accepted it. A lot of the time it hangs at 90%, and you sit there waiting, and a day later you realise it ain't playing, and you got to go and do it all again. But there's particular things you need to do. You need to set things up so in the space of just under 2 minutes, you can walk in from the street, you can show yourself unlocking a premises, or a unit within a business centre, and in there you'll see the tools of your trade, you'll see documentation like your company's house certificate or your headed note paper and your business cards, and you've got to get all that done within, there's more to it than that, but you've got to get it all done in the 2 minutes, and then cross your fingers that that Google accepts the upload from your phone. And you do it all through the mobile phone app for Google Business Places, and it's a ball ache, let's be honest. This guy here, Darren Shaw, he's one of the top names in this game in Canada. They, sufficiently big company that they make software for local SEO, and their engineers obviously have to experiment and try things out. Well, they knackered his Google Business profile, so of course he thought he could get it done in a couple of minutes. Yeah, I'll just go back and do it. But no, it took him 8 goes, and the video is quite amusing in a nerdy sort of way, worth watching, particularly if you have to go through this process yourself. So Darren Shaw, big Canadian authority, and we won't watch it now, but it's there and it's helpful. Right, so we haven't mentioned AI yet, have we? And that's going to make significant differences. What is becoming clear, a lot of the crud that's going out, that's been produced by AI from probably quite good prompts, but hasn't really been edited properly by a human. It's just not engaging people. People are leaving the pages, and there's quite a bit of evidence building up now over this last year from, again, some of the bigger local SEO people. And a lot of it is there was a thing called the helpful content update last year, I think, sometime, and it was aimed allegedly at surfacing much more helpful content that was really well tuned into the actual search intent and the persona that you or Google identifies behind that search. One of the effects of that is that your content is going to have to become more in-depth, more tuned in to particular individual types of customers, I think. And again, this was sort of borne out by some guys from the Northeast that ran a webinar yesterday, and sort of confirming, if it's purely AI, it's just not going to keep people's attention. There are just subtleties that AI can't really reproduce yet. And there was a lot of talk about search generative experience, Google SGE, but it looks like it's going to be confined to the labs for now. Ross Hudgens pointed this out a while back on I call it X-Twitter now. But it's things that are tried in this labs experiment will gradually appear in the real world. And quality of search results, there's been a lot of chatter about the quality of search is going down, and a couple of German unis, they check this out, particularly looking at product reviews, and they quite conclusively said that yes, the quality of the material that's being displayed is far worse than it used to be in that narrow band of searches. So the winds of change will blow. So now that's wandering up to the top of one of the Munros above Drumocta Pass on the way home from the Cairngorms, and that's a proper Scottish blizzard. That was a real eyeball stinger. But yeah, all good fun. And it reminded you about the power of nature. But Google's a complex beast. I'm sure there's a link there somewhere in my little brain anyway. So it's now facing a lot of unintended consequences after some of the changes. The helpful content update in many cases turned out not to be so helpful, and this may affect people's rankings in local searches, even sort of in a fairly quiet place like Carlisle. Putting GBP verification into almost completely into the AI realm is just a major hassle. They're going to have the challenge now of trying to find and surface the genuine content, the genuinely helpful content, because there's such a lot of quickly produced AI crap out there. And AI is a pretty useful tool. I use it regularly. Don't get me wrong, it is a useful thing, but it is not a replacement for proper, well thought out, well targeted content. And if they don't fight off this spamming of local services ads in the USA, it will almost certainly cross over to here and kind of spoil that experience for the businesses paying for the ads and for the customers who get one of the just one whiz through the wind is enough. Right, and then again, for good or bad, AI is going to be used more creatively as people get to understand the nuances of it, and that's going to put pressure on Google, big companies and businesses large or small. That includes you, even in sort of quiet little Cumbria. It does mean we'll have to raise our game. Okay, so that's just a quick run through. It's probably a bit longer than I intended, but a quick run through of some of the changes that you may run up against in the next year in local SEO. So you can get hold of us at Climb High SEO if you need any help with any of those issues, or just generally in planning a website for your business. If you're a new startup, you can phone me on 01228 318 068. And if I'm not in the office, I'm on 07576 893 178, and email and website are there too. So thanks very much for listening, and have a great month.